A little over 3 years ago, the lighthouse keeper came to me and said that there was a problem with erosion of the cliffs that the lighthouse sits on, that there had been significant loss after a storm. And when he did his investigation, he realized that even though there was 46 feet left between the lighthouse itself and the cliff face, any organization that was going to come in and have to get underneath it and lift it up would need a 30-foot trench around it. So that made us realize that we only had 15 feet left to work with, and one good storm could knock 5 feet off of that at any time. So it took 3 years because even though we made the decision to save the lighthouse, it didn't belong to us. It belonged to the Coast Guard. So we had to go through a federal statute program to acquire it from the National Park Service, and at the same time put together a committee
to look into the relocation. I volunteered. I'm a building contractor and actually have moved several wooden buildings, but never anything like a lighthouse. But I thought some of my experience might come in handy and might be a good advocate for the town in terms of seeking the right people to do it and getting it done. But with a lighthouse being a tall, slender masonry structure, that it's susceptible to any type of movement could cause cracking and failure in the brick. But in that case, it would come tumbling down. So this required, special expertise, and not just as the mover said, no shack dragger can take care of this. This is a specialty. We had the services of a research geologist from the U.S. Geological Survey, Dr. Byron Stone, who came and did some extensive studying of the cliffs. We did some core samples. We drilled down 40-foot cores and extracted the material below to see what the stub structures were, so he could get a better idea of the stratification and the permeability of the clays and the elasticity versus the weight-bearing capacities. Yeah. And it was determined that both through historical erosion maps, and through these core samplings, that the lighthouse stood on a prominent that was what he called the red spine of a very solid and stable clay formation. And the site where we had selected initially turned out to be on that same formation. So according to his historical data and rates of erosion, he figured that new location spot would be good for at least 150 years before it would be threatened by erosion again.